evening, everyone. My name is Emily Duncan, and I work for the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission, also known as the IURC. The IURC is hosting tonight's field hearing. If you aren't familiar, we are the state government agency responsible for the regulation of public utilities in the state of Indiana. The agency includes 5 appointed commissioners who each have an equal vote on all formal cases before the commission. The IURC hears evidence in cases filed before it and makes decisions based on the evidence presented in those cases. The IURC is required by state statute to make decisions in the public interest to ensure that utilities provide safe and reliable service at just and reasonable rates. Field hearings, such as this one, provide you with an opportunity to formally offer comments to the Commission on cases under consideration. Before the Commission reaches a decision in this case, it reviews evidence presented by all parties, including comments made here this evening. We are joined tonight by Chairman Houston, Commissioners Freeman, Valletta, Ziegler, and Commissioner Bennett. We've got presiding Administrative Law Judge Lloyd and our court reporter Linda, who will record your comments to be included in the official record of the case. Because this is a pending proceeding before the IURC, the commissioners and the administrative law judge are not allowed to answer questions or engage in any discussion on the case. They are here to listen to you. Of course, if you have any questions about tonight's hearings, feel free to find me in the back of the room. If you are planning to speak tonight, you'll see 2 mics, the one that I'm holding and the court reporter's mic. It is important that you speak loudly and clearly so both mics pick you up. However, the court reporter's mic is the most important, as we'll be using it to transcribe your comments. With that, I'm going to turn it over to the Indiana Office of Utility Consumer Counselor, which is a state agency that formally represents consumers' interests in matters before the Commission. Olivia Rivera from the Office of Utility Consumer Counselor, or the OUCC, will now offer a few comments prior to handing the mic off to our ALJ Lloyd to begin tonight's hearing.
Thanks, Emily. Hi everyone, thank you all for coming out tonight. Again, my name is Olivia Rivera and I'm with the OUCC, or the Indiana Office of Utility Consumer Counselor. We're the separate state agency representing the public in this case and in other cases before the Commission. There are 4 things that we would like you to know tonight before this hearing begins. Number 1, tonight's hearing has one purpose, and that is to hear comments from the public. You will not see a presentation from the utility tonight because it filed its case in writing back in April. The OUCC's fact sheet has a brief summary of the utility's request along with other information about the case. Again, tonight is all about giving you the chance to speak to the Commission. Number 2, this is one of many steps in the case process. Those steps are listed on the back of the fact sheet, and a final order from the IURC is not expected until early next year. Number 3, a team of engineers, accountants, attorneys, and other experts from our office is reviewing the utility's request. We are scheduled to file testimony on July 11th. You should have received the form alongside your fact sheet. If you would like to speak tonight, please fill out the top half of that form and return it to our table. If you don't want to speak tonight, but still wish to make comments, you can do that in writing using the same form. Or, after the hearing, through the avenues noted in the fact sheet. Written comments carry equal weight to the spoken comments heard here tonight. They will become part of the formal case record so long as we receive them by July 5th. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to come find myself or another member of the OUCC team out at the table. And with that, I will turn it over to Judge Lloyd to begin the hearing.
Good evening. My name is Greg Lloyd. I'm an administrative law judge with the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission. To my right is Chairman James Houston, who is assigned this case as the presiding officer. To his right is Commissioner David Ziegler, followed by Commissioner Sarah Freeman and also Commissioner David Valletta. We're joined by Senior Court Reporter Linda Rubel, who's to my left, as well as Court Reporter Amy Kokash. Also here to Ms. Rubel's left is Carol Sparks-Drake with the Indiana Office of Utility Consumer Counselor, Jennifer Washburn with the Citizens Action Coalition, Leanne Steffes with Duke Energy Indiana LLC, as well as Elizabeth Hennigan, also with Duke Energy Indiana LLC. The purpose of tonight's hearing is to provide the general public an opportunity to testify concerning the relief requested in this cause. Testimony may be provided orally or in writing, regardless of how comments are provided. They will all become part of the record in this case and will be considered by the Commission. This is a formal hearing, and all testimony provided will be given under oath. As a formal hearing, much like you would see in a courtroom, outbursts in the form of booing, cheering, or clapping are simply inappropriate. In order for all testimony to be provided to be properly taken down by the court reporter, it is important that each witness speak into the microphone slowly and clearly and have the opportunity to testify without interruption, so that all members of the general public can present their views. Oral testimony should only address the specific issues raised in this proceeding, namely issues related to Duke Energy Indiana's request for authorization to increase its electric utility service rates and charges. This will allow the field hearing to progress in an efficient manner that should allow all participants an opportunity to testify before the Commission. Individuals testifying are encouraged to avoid offering repetitive or lengthy comments to avoid the necessity for the presiding officers to set specific time limits on individual testimony. Again, the Commission will consider all public comments, whether they are made orally or in writing. However, state law does prevent us from answering any questions tonight as part of this proceeding. If you are going to testify tonight, Ms. Sparks Grace will let you know when to approach the microphone. And so at this time, if you haven't already done so, I would ask that you turn off or silence your cell phones and any other electronic devices. Finally, I would like to give special thanks to the Ivy Tech Community College and its team for hosting us tonight. Ms. Rubel, are you ready? All right, let's go on the record. This is a field hearing before the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission, and it caused document before the Commission, cause number 46038, captioned as Petition of Duke Energy Indiana LLC, pursuant to Indiana Code Sections 8-1-2-42.7 and 8-1-2-61 for 1. Authority to modify its rates and charges for electric utility service through a multi-step rate implementation of new rates and charges using forecasted test period. 2. Approval of new schedules of rates and charges, general rules and regulations, and riders. 3. Approval of revised electric depreciation rates applicable to its electric plant and service, and approval of regulatory asset treatment upon retirement of the company's last coal-fired steam generation plant. 4. Approval of an adjustment to the company's FAC rider to track coal inventory balances. And 5. Approval of necessary and appropriate accounting relief, including the authority to A. deliver to a regulatory asset expenses associated with the Edwards Port carbon capture and sequestration study. B. Defer to a regulatory asset costs incurred to achieve organization. And C. Defer to the regulatory asset reliability as applicable all calculated income tax differences resulting from future changes in income tax rates. Notice of the time and place of today's field hearing was given as provided by law by publication in Marion County through the Indianapolis Star on May 21st, 2024, and also in Beagle County through the Tribune Star on May 22nd, 2024. These are newspapers of journal circulation. These publications were made at least 10 days prior to the date of today's field hearing. The proofs of publication of the notices have been received by the Commission and are now incorporated by reference into the record list caused by reference and placed in official files of the Commission. The notice has also been given to the Indiana Office of Utility and City Councilor and other interested parties who had appearances, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. On behalf of the petitioner, please accept the appearance of Leanne Steffes.
And also on behalf of Petitioner Beth Newman.
Thank you, Your Honor. On behalf of Citizens Action Coalition of Indiana, or CAC, please accept the appearance of Jennifer Washburn.
Carol Sparks Gray, appearing on behalf of the Indiana Office of Utility Consumer Counselor.
Thank you, Council. At this time, I will swear in the members of the public who plan to give testimony tonight. If you plan on testifying at the skill hearing, please stand if you're able and raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the evidence you will give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you. You may be seated. Ms. Sparks-Briggs, when you're ready, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. What I'm going to do to try and expedite moving the next witness before the commission is to call 3 names. The first name will be the first person at the podium. If the other 2 folks would please go ahead and come up. We'll call it sitting on deck. And as the first person finishes, the second comes up, and I call the name for the next person to please come on down. So I think it helps it be a little more orderly and also facilitates an appreciation for your time. So the first 3 people would be Lo Sporer, Flo Evinger, and Dave Elkins. Ms. Sporer, if you would please state your name and spell it for the record.
My name is Lo Sporer, L-O-S-P-O-R-E-R.
Thank you. Please go ahead and offer your comments.
Okay. I'm just going to kind of read this because otherwise I'll get kind of emotional. Duke Energy made $497 million profit in 2023. CEO Lynn Good's compensation packet for 2022 was $21.35 million. Her 2021 compensation was $16.45 million. That's a 30% increase. The average person working is blessed if they get 3%. It is said that the increase would be around $50 per month. That $50 per month is just a trip to Starbucks for her. But to me, it's a hardship. I am 69 years old and I work 2 jobs. Why do I do this? Let me see. My electric bill is going up. My gas bill has gone up. My water and sewage bill has gone up. My car insurance, my homeowner's insurance has gone up. And don't get me started on the property taxes. Maybe you forgot, but also grocery and prescription medications have gone up, and mine have gone up drastically. Everything has increased except my salary and lifestyle. You have no concerns for the average customer. We are told to tighten our belts and cut out unnecessary spending. Well, Duke Energy, look in the mirror. Tighten your belt, cut out unnecessary spending, and quit spending the waste. I found a quote. Leadership is a privilege to better the lives of others. It is not an opportunity to satisfy personal greed.
Thank you. And on
Turn the volume up.
Emily.
Can you turn the volume up? Can't hear a thing.
They'll try to do that.
Oh.
Emily DaCosta. Ms. Evinger, if you would please state and spell your name.
Flo Evinger, F-L-O-E-V-I-N-G-E-R.
Thank you.
Duke Energy is listed in the top 10 companies who spend more on executive salaries than they pay in federal income taxes. This means corporate board members have more money to give the highest paid executives. All of our incomes would be higher if we didn't have to pay taxes like Duke. Duke Energy has a deferred federal tax balance of over $9 billion. The common working man can be jailed or put a lien on his house if their taxes aren't paid. no federal income tax, 7.9 billion profit in the last 3 years. Then to make matters worse, Duke Energy wants $9 million to study carbon capture and storage at Edwardsport. What a joke. Why would Duke Energy need to study carbon capture when they just sold Joe gasification plant to Wabash Valley Resources, who's supposedly going to carbon capture? This sounds like a scam. Duke Energy is willing to sacrifice the people of Vigo and Vermilion County in order to receive a government handout of funds. That's what they'll do if they store carbon captured in Edwardsport. Duke Energy is trying to deceive you by saying they need additional funds to provide better service. What they are doing is trying to make you pay for resources to make even more money. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Elkins.
Dave Elkins, D-A-V-E-L-K-I-N-S. I'm president of the Westview Community Center. I'd like to talk about Duke Energy as a corporate citizen. Duke Energy has partnered with us for many years and provided sweat equity in a variety of ways to help us continue to serve our local constituents and become more efficient. For example, installed new lighting fixtures in our gym, ran wiring to our storage garage, and installed LED fixtures. Installed new LED lights fixtures in our kitchen, pantry, and office. Recently replaced fluorescent lights in the gym for energy efficient. Served meals at our free Thanksgiving and Christmas community meals and provided sponsorship as well. Has reached out to other companies to provide us with sweat equity to help us improve, upgrade, and maintain our facility. Duke Energy commitment to helping the Westview Community Center is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
And Honkai Tayagi, I apologize, would be next on deck. Mr. Costa?
My name is Emily Tukolsky. I am a Sister of Providence, and I live here in Terre, Haute. There are many of us here tonight to oppose these rate changes, and more who couldn't be here in person. We are Republican and Democrat, black and white, rich and poor, and most of us just want to live healthy lives and be able to afford a decent home, quality food, and a little cushion just in case. But massive corporations like Duke insist on charging us astronomical rates for basic necessities, while raking in profits beyond what most of us can even imagine. Duke wants to charge us more to bring in an additional $500 million to line their corporate coffers, after almost $500 million in profit last year in Indiana alone, and more than $2.8 billion nationally. They're seeking to have the largest shareholder profits in the state, while we are left paying the price. But most of us can't even fathom how much money $1 million is, let alone $1 billion or even $2.8 billion. Note, if $1 million were 1 second, $1 billion would be almost 32 years. Here in Vigo County, our poverty rate is 19.2%. Nearly 1 in 5 people in our community lives in poverty, and Duke is asking us to pay more money to support multi-billion-dollar profits. Our median household income is $52,800. Most of us wouldn't even bring home $1 million in 20 years of hard work. And Duke is asking us to pay more to subsidize profits that most of us wouldn't see if we worked for 10,000 years. But that additional $500 per year that Duke will take from each customer on average could be used to pay for food, school clothes, rent, and more. Our schools will pay more to pay for Duke CEO Lynn Good's $20.6 million salary, leaving less money for student learning. Our area service organizations will pay more towards Duke's private aircraft costs, leaving less money for serving the people struggling to afford food already, even before Duke's proposed cost increases. They may have helped and volunteered at one organization, but they're leaving a lot of others paying the price. These rate hikes will hurt small businesses, many of which struggled to survive through the pandemic and are just now getting back on their feet. With Duke as a monopoly, we the customers have to pay what Duke charges. But we the people, as citizens of a democracy, have the power of our votes. And as regulators, you have the power to represent us. It is your responsibility to act in the public interest and reject this case. In Michigan, public utility regulators denied a similar request from Indiana-Michigan Power, noting that they use coal rather than cheaper, cleaner options. Duke, not its consumers, must pay for the poor choices that Duke made. We must not be on the hook for their insistence that they use more costly forms of energy. As citizens, we will continue to come together to oppose Duke's corporate profiteering on our backs.
I'm going to try that last name one more time. Pankajtyag, I think L-O. And also Kevin Southwood. Mr. Hamilton.
Hi, my name is Mr. Hamilton, DERRYHAMILTON. I think you guys said it all for me, but I'm elderly. I pay $240 a month for electricity, and me and my daughter is the only one that lives there. Can't afford that. I'm on a fixed income. How do you think all these other people on Social Security is going to make it? They're going to do without lunch, or dinner, or supper. Some of them will have lights out before it's over with. They won't be able to afford it. And I'm here because I'm worried I can't afford it. And when I watch the news and I see where Duke Energy is giving $50,000 to charity and $20,000 to this charity, I'm all for charities. I like charities. Yes, let's give. But instead of giving that money to them, why don't they take that money and do what they need to do instead of hurting the public? Because we're stressed for money. Even elderly people, all kind of stuff. I mean, I don't understand it. I appreciate Duke Energy for coming and giving me when my lights are out and when I need help and all that. But to really take all my money, I don't have much there to give. I just don't know what to say, but every little bit helps. I wish half of Terre Haute would come up here. I wish the mayor would have been here. Maybe the mayor should say something that the bills is too high. If I can't afford it, I know anybody else can afford it. I know your mom and dads cannot afford it. So let's try to keep this down and vote no to all this stuff. Because later on in life, I mean, like she said, we want to have a little money to spend on our own self instead of Duke Energy. At my house anymore, lights are out. We don't have no lights, no air conditioner, nothing. We just live like the Amish. That's all we can do. Thank you.
Whitney Bose, B-O-Y-C-E.
Name is Kevin Southwood. It's KEVINSOUTHWOOD. This is about inflation. It seems that no business knows how to stop inflation. No politician has no gift to stop inflation. So it's outrageous whenever I've seen stories in the past where corporations, business entities that have all this money, billions and billions of dollars, they use purchase on stock buyback. They don't invest in improving their infrastructure. They invest our money, their profit, into securing more, a higher rise in the stock market. No infrastructure, but improve their stock value. That's outrageous. I think that the best way I'd fight inflation would be to have a system of checks and balances where you have like transportation, housing, child care, health care, utilities, housing, miscellaneous, where you have like say 10 entities where each one of those groups have us under their control from birth until our death, So each one of these entities ought to have an equal say. And so if utilities want to raise up your rates higher than the other 9 entities or 10 entities that are involved in this circle of life, they would have to, all of them entities outside of your one entity would have to accept a loss equal to what you want to increase it. So they would be at checks and balances. Not one of these entities, these businesses, would allow another business to take money out of their funds in order to improve their profits on themselves. That's checks and balances. And that's a hell of a lot more honest in saying, well, we don't know how to stop inflation, and you could step forward and stand tall and reduce your rates and invite other businesses to reduce their rates. The people aren't causing this inflation. Greed and corruption and price gouging is causing inflation. That's by business entities alone. It's not by the population at all. To me, it's outrageous that you're taking advantage of everything that you have, which is everything, and you're using that power to attack the people. The last time I looked at it, the U.S. Constitution, the very first paragraph of our Constitution was all about the people. There wasn't a business entity, there wasn't a religious group, there wasn't a politician, there wasn't no state rights involved. It was all about the power gave to the people, the very first paragraph of the Constitution, and we ought to abide by that, not be condemned to your power of corruption.
Christopher Norick and Susan Stroll Koss. Mr. Evans?
Mike Evans, EVANS. I think it's several notes I had have been covered. CEO compensation. They had a balance of, this is your 2023 figures, because that's the latest we can get a hold of. They had a profit of $19,381 billion, which was up 5.94% from 2022. The current balance as of 2023 is $80.45 billion. Duke's philanthropy has been mentioned here, but I would like to point out that that philanthropy comes at our expense. I know many Duke employees, and they're well compensated, but they do their job. I just wonder how Duke itself morally can compensate or accept $21 million and then try to put $26 or whatever over to the consumer. Single mothers, retirees, working poor. I don't understand why they would even consider it with considering the balances. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would please state your name and spell.
Whitney Boyce, WHITNEYBOYCE, resident of West Terre, Haute. So when I heard about this rate increase, I got to thinking about the way things are and the way things work. And I started considering how the government uses the concern of common good in order to consider the granting of eminent domain, which is something that Duke has in order to provide their service and make their money. And I am fully aware that the law doesn't require Duke to abide by the spirit of public good, but I would hope that common decency and humanity would certainly suggest that they should. What good is it to take away people's ability to maintain their status quo? Because that's what this rate increase will do. It will remove my community's ability to keep their heads above water. Without this increase, will Duke still be able to make profits? Of course they will. But with this rate increase, will my community be able to do more than barely get by? Will we be able to save for our children's future? Will we be able to fix or improve our houses? Will we be able to better our lives? Of course not. What good is it to make everyday working class people choose between paying the electric bill and buying groceries for their families? I work in the school corporation, and Vigo County Schools has a disproportionate number of students on free and reduced lunch. These families are already strapped, to the point where our schools are taking it upon themselves to provide backpacks full of food to send home over the weekends, to provide open pantries at the doors when the children leave. Our community simply cannot handle it. And to be perfectly honest, as an educator that spends my resources and my money to provide the same stuff for the students, with the rate increase, I can't afford it. What good is it to make one of the most vulnerable groups, the elderly, of which there are a large and growing number in Vigo County, choose between being able to afford their medicine and the electricity they have to keep it usable? Will Duke's shareholders face hunger, poverty, or death if they don't get this rate increase? Absolutely not. But members of my community will. Forcing people to make these types of choices to sacrifice themselves for something as meaningless as putting money into the pockets of shareholders, something as immoral as doing so by taking it from people who barely are making ends meet, serves no good at all. I'm sure these are probably things that you've heard many times before and tonight, but before it is brushed off and Duke can assuage their consciences by telling them that these instances are few and far between, I just want you to know how false that platitude is. Because I've been working at the same company for 12 years, and I have 14 years of experience in my field. I have a master's degree, and I'm working towards a second. And you know what? It has not done me a lick of good, because the raise I got this year still will not cover these rate increases if they are granted. I won't be able to maintain my status quo. I have 2 children. I try and put back every month so that they can save for college, because that's what we're told we have to do. I don't understand why my children are being asked to do without, while the children of my community are being asked to do without, while grown adults are benefiting from what is being stolen from them. So before Duke convinces you that this rate increase will only negatively impact a few, I am here to tell you that that is a lie. This increase will be to the detriment of every average working class individual. Common good? Not even close. In the spirit of common decency, humanity, and concern for our fellow man? Absolutely not. Something this hurtful to the average individual should not be allowed to happen. Please say no to this rate increase.
Elaine Lee. Sir, if you will please state your name and spell it.
Christopher Norick, CHRISTOPHER, NORRICK. Many of you were down in Evansville for that rate hearing, and that's where I'm from. Originally from Gibson County, where I have a lot of friends and family that still remain. And I grew up in the shadow of the Gibson generating station, and I can still feel those effects, even down in Evansville. So I'm here on their behalf, because here we are again. I mean, we all spent 9 hours in that room down in Evansville for a very similar rate case. The exact same amounts. They're detrimental. I hope that those still impacted you as we're here tonight and hearing these exact same stories from the exact same folks. It crushes me, and I'm really concerned for my parents that are still in Gibson County. My dad worked well into his 60s, late 60s, early 70s at Alcoa to provide for us. He used to work at a coal mine in Pike County. To see the Gibson generating station still pumping out all of that awful, awful stuff that coats Gibson County crushes me. And then to see Duke ask for more money to continue to do the same thing hurts me even more. They just have not learned any lessons. So I just simply ask that you deny this rate increase. Do not reward them for that egregious behavior. Enough really is enough. We've reached our limit. There's no more to give. Thank you.
Donald Bohannon. If you would please state your name and spell it for the record.
Okay. My name is Susan Strokos. It's SUSANSTROLE-KOS. I live in Vigo County, out in West Terre, Haute. That was my daughter that just spoke, and I'm so proud of her. I was going to tell you about the prophets, but you've heard that, and everybody's done a wonderful job. So I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to tell you, we live in a rural community. I'm a farmer, almost a very small farm, and it's tough to get by. It really, really is. We try to help one another out in my community. There's a company, they are trying to come out here and put carbon capture underneath my ground. And they want to pay us a pittance for what it's worth, why they make billions of dollars. I don't understand it. We're struggling. I hope that you're not going to ask us to rob Peter to pay Duke, because we've already robbed them paying Paul. There are many elderly people out there, and there are families working 2 jobs, barely getting by. We are neighbor helping neighbor, but if we cannot help each other, I don't know what we're going to do. So I hope you do say no.
Ms. Lee, if you would please state your name and spell it.
Yes, Elaine Lee, ELAINELEE. Good evening. I'm so glad that you're all here this evening. And to the gentleman from the West Vigo Community Center, sir, I think it's great that Duke Energy did all that for you, but make no mistake, they did not pay for it. We paid for it.
Ma'am. This is your opportunity to address the commissioners. Please.
And I'm getting there. My next question is for the commissioners. It seems like we have a trend with Duke Energy and all utilities, quite honestly. Every 3 years, they go back for the ask. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I'm just wondering, what is it going to take for you to say no? It seems that you grant them whatever they want when they make the ask. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just wanting, I want to know more about what goes in that decision-making process. Because it seems like you grant every utility everything that they ask. We have had hardships, not only in this city, but in this state and in this country since COVID. Since 2020, everything has gone up. Consumable goods, i.e. the groceries, 200 to 300%. For those of us that are here this evening that do not receive government aid, and I think I can speak for us all, we're tapped out. We're not getting assistance, and I think it's great for those that do. But I've worked all my life, starting at the age of 10, working a paper route with my brother. I am now going to be 65 years old. I'm tired. I did retire, and I'm glad I retired, but you know what? I've had to go back and get another job. Because between the utilities and also my property taxes in the state of Indiana, and also maintenance for my home and my car and my utilities, and my Duke Energy bill is quite hefty, and I'm one single person with 2 dogs. Now they do drink a lot of water, but they're expensive. Everything's gone up, so I've had no other choice but to go back to work. And I like working, but right now at the age of almost 65, I shouldn't have to, and I kind of resent it. So what I'm asking you to please do is say no, or someone send me information to give me those guidelines. What do you look at when you make those decisions? Because I really do want to know as a consumer, as a taxpayer. Some things that I would like to also address is, what is it going to take since 2020 for us Americans to come back and be able to have a living wage, a living household, What's it going to take? Something has got to happen because everything keeps going up. Nothing's going down. When was the last time we read about something actually going down in cost? I can't remember anything. Bottom line is, we're tapped, and something has to end. And again, I'm going to say, when Duke Energy does wonderful things in our community, yes, we appreciate it, but they are not the ones paying for it. Thank you very much.
Cindy Pyle. Mr. Bohannon.
Donald Bohannon.
Sir, if you would spell your name, please.
DONALDBOHANNON.
Thank you.
All right, this is like a modern day David and Goliath. You know who David is. It's all of us. The Duke is Goliath. Now, at least one of these people came up here and they give you a stone. And it's going to turn into a boulder. And with that boulder, you should drop it on Duke. If not, you could take that dagger that you're getting paid to stab it in her back. So I'll just start.
Kathy Brock. Mr. Wilson. If you would please state your name and spell it.
William Wilson, W-I-L-L-I-A-M, Wilson, W-I-L-S-O-N. Most important, 9978389. That's my service number. Look it up and you know who you're dealing with. Now, I'm pretty hot over this raise that they're wanting to get. You shut down all these powerhouses, you knocked all these people out of jobs, you're putting up solar panels. You should be making a lot more money than what you can say you're making. But what really gets me mad, you're getting tied in with this carbon people. And they are foreigners. And they are not coming out in our country and destroying our land. We'll do whatever we have to do to stop that. Somebody better be taking note. This is going to be very, very bad if it does not change. And look at the people. Most of these people in here are retired. When they retire, their money stays the same. And every year it goes like this. Now it goes. That's not right. There's so many people that's losing their homes and homeless. Indiana's the most corrupt state there is.
Amen.
And it's really changed in the last 3 years. They're just now taking Hogan in up there and want to find out about the money that they've been taking from us and the government. I mean, people are fed up, but somebody's got to make some changes. And I don't mean to be down on you people, but there's a lot of big snakes that's taking a lot of money. They're greedy. They're not for the people. Somebody's got to do something. This is not getting it. Thank you.
Blake, S-A-N-Q-U-E-N-E-H-I, I believe. Ms. Pyle, would you please state your name and spell it?
Yes, Cindy Pyle, C-I-N-D-Y-P-Y-L-E. Just earlier tonight, it was stated that Duke Energy says this rate increase is just and reasonable. Well, according to Google just yesterday, Duke Energy has a profit of $19 billion in 2023. If they have any profit, they don't need to reach into our pockets. This is not just or reasonable. Please reject this rate increase. Thank you.
Sylvester Edwards. Ms. Brock.
My name is Kathy Brock, C-A-T-H-Y-B-R-O-C-K. And thank you for all being here and listening to us. We've got a lot of things to write about. But, I live on Social Security, so
I don't have a lot of money extra for the utility bill. I'd like to keep my electricity, but, you know, we may have to give that up. And I just want to ask you guys to say no to the rate increase. Thank you.
Elizabeth McInerney. Sir, I think, yes.
Who's next on the motion?
Clay.
Oh, that's me.
I'm not tackling your last name.
Clay Sanquinetti.
Thank you.
CLATESANQUENETTI. The first thing I'd like to do, I'd like to impose a 16% decrease. Duke Energy is known for tens of billions of dollars of failed projects at consumers' expenses. You can look it up, proof is there. Edwardsport, that's a big sham, waste of money. They want to take on this carbon sequestration, and it's not proven. There are 2 Class 6 wells in Decatur, Illinois, that inject carbon in the ground and not remove anything. Okay, they've had 4,700 micro earthquakes since they started that at Archer, Daniels, Midland. Okay, they want to put 2. They want to put 1 well right behind my house. Everybody says that, you know, there's 180,000 injection wells in the United States. Well, most of them wells are used to retract oil. So they inject something in the ground to retract the oil. So what they're wanting to do, they're wanting to inject CO2 into the ground at a high pressure, because you have to turn it into a liquid and pressurize it over 2,000 PSI and pump it into the ground. You got to think about the public safety, and you got to think about the public's money. All this is about carbon credits. It's not about anything other than that. These people are not looking to save the environment. They want the carbon credits so they can continue on to run their coal burners and put all their pollutants in the air. Another thing I want to put out there is that last year everybody talks about Duke Energy made $19 billion in profits, and they donated $2.8 million. Okay, that's pretty piss poor. You know, if I had that kind of money, I'd probably donate a whole lot more than that. But you know, it's the consumer's money that they're doing this with. They're a monopoly, and they need to be stopped. Thank you.
Mr. Edwards?
Good evening. Sorry about the tripping and falling. My name is Sylvester Edwards. That's SYLVESTEREDWARDS. I am the president of the Greater Terre Haute NACP. It's encompassed 5 counties: Vigo, Vermilion, Clay, Sullivan, and Park. The NACP is an organization that's been 115 years. And what we do is making sure that the citizens in the United States' rights are not violated, and that's both civil and human rights. As we sit up and listen to a lot of the people here, it puts a strain on their economic well-being. And what I like to do is, as they say, follow the money. And we're talking about an increase. As I understand it, that this increase is like $42 per month. And with that increase of $42 a month, in 12 months is $504. I looked it up, and Duke has about 900,000 customers. And right now, most of these customers are not feeling like customers, they're feeling like they're victims. And within the 12 months, with the 900,000 customers, that Duke is making $453,600,000 $600,000 in addition, not stating how much they already, that's the increase, but with this $42 a month. Well, I'm pretty sure within 10 years that Duke's going to come back, ask for more. It's always about getting the next more. In that 10 years, it would be an increase of $4,536,000,000. That's the increase that you're asking us for $42 a month. That is a little bit more excessive. What I want to know is, what are you going to do with all this additional money? Are you going to go ahead and put it into the next generation of energy, green energy, wind, and renewable energy? Now, as I can understand you doing something for us to make things better and making the air, the pollution, for the water, the air, and the soil. If you're not using this money to better our lives, there is a problem with this. So again, the NACP gave me the authority to speak on certain issues, and this is one of them. And for the people that in Vigo County and also in Vermilion, we stand with you about this carbon capture. We have speaking about this for the last couple of years. It does not make sense that people can dirty the air and then get a sweetheart deal from our government where they're not liable if anything's happening. You get this additional money increase, and you dirty the air, and you get paid to dirty the air, and you get paid to clean the air. And if anything happened in that contract, they are not to be sued. The state have to take care of that. There is something wrong with, whereas that this is a circle, whereas you continue making money off the back of the poor people in this community in the United States. But again, have a good day.
Ruth Sleuth.
Delaney Kwan, DeLaneyKWON. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Delaney Barber Kwan, and I'm the Community and Government Affairs Manager for Indiana Conservation Voters. We are an organization that advocates for all Hoosiers and champions actions to improve the state's environment, economy, and competitive edge. Indiana Conservation Voters opposes a rate increase in cause number 46038 for Duke ratepayers. We support Hoosier households which are unnecessarily struggling to keep up with energy costs when cheaper and cleaner alternatives exist. We hurt jobs and lose competitive edge when we stick with toxic and outdated energy sources that put the burden of cleanup and health impacts on ratepayers and communities. In Duke, North Carolina's all of the above strategy, their proposed resource plan invests significantly in solar, battery storage, and wind in an effort to keep costs low and meet energy demand, and to phase out coal. The U.S. Energy Information Administration's 2023 levelized cost of new generation estimates reveal the stark competitiveness of solar and battery storage compared to coal, priced at $36 per megawatt hour when coal is $89 per megawatt hour respectively, and this does not include any coal ash cleanup costs. Overall, Indiana's energy decisions need to be reliable, affordable, resilient, stable, and environmentally sustainable. Currently, Duke's energy portfolio does not meet these criteria. I urge you to deny a rate increase, and thank you for your time.
Is Elizabeth? Okay. I think we skipped over you. I apologize. And I would call down Richard Sluter, please. If you'd please state your name and spell it.
Elizabeth McInerney, and that's ELIZABETH MCINERNEY. and EY. And I am here in support with the Sierra Club today, and I also am here representing the City of Terre Haute Sustainability Commission. I am a recent board member, and I am also a recent homeowner here in the Terre Haute area. So I have a lot of issues with this rate increase, but I really didn't intend to speak. I just intended to observe. But I have to be honest, I have just been so impressed with the passionate and articulate way this community is expressing itself. And I just say, listen to that. Listen to what we all have to say. Thank you.
I had not intended to speak, so I don't have notes. That's bad for you. Oh, Ruth Sluter, spelled S as in Steve, L-U-D as in David, E-R. Because I had not intended to speak, I have no notes. That's bad for you because I tend to talk too long. Sorry. Hello, and I'm glad that you are. I can tell you guys are listening to these people, and I love the amount of work that they put into it. So I'm not going to add to that. What I'm going to do is tell you my personal experience with Duke Energy and the cost of that energy. When we moved into our home, we had not been in a complete electric home. We had also had propane gas that we lived out in the country. When we moved here, we were in for a surprise how much a total electric home cost. So we cut back as much as possible. My husband is in his 70s. He had to go back to work. He's a retired teacher. We are helping a son who has been ill for about 5 years, and he's just now getting back on his feet. So money has been tight for us. Last year, we had, as you guys know, last winter, we had an El Nino, which was good for us because the electric bills weren't quite as high since it wasn't as cold as normal. But I still went to bed every night with cold feet. I wrapped myself. I can remember as a little girl, by the way, having a coal furnace. And sometimes we went to bed with our coats on because it would get really cold at night if somebody didn't go down there and start the fire. But we keep the house at a very low temperature so we don't pay a high electric bill. We didn't turn on our air until it got above 80 for several days and got too hot in the house. So we just now started getting our air conditioning. We do cut back, and I am not the only one. I've heard these speakers. I know these people can't afford it. We absolutely have no more money with the inflation that has taken place. We have to feed our family. That was wonderful to hear about everything Duke did for their group back there. But you know what? They might have got fed by Duke, but Duke doesn't put meals on my table. We do. And I just want you to know that it takes a lot of courage for people to come up here and tell you that how much they're struggling. It really does. And I hope that not only you're listening, but your heart's listening. Thank you.
Richard Sluter. Carolyn Craig. Your Honor, this witness needs to be sworn, please.
Right there to the microphone, if you would, please. And the man, if you would, before you testify, if you would raise your right hand, and do you swear or affirm the evidence you will give in this cause with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great, thank you. And if you would, please state your full name and spell your name, please.
Yes, my name is Carolyn Craig, C-A-R-O-L-Y-N, C-R-A-I-G. And I didn't get sworn in because I came over from Bloomington and got lost on the way here. But I am a Duke customer, and I plan to be at the Bloomington meeting as well. I'm here representing my long-term membership in the Sierra Club and their Beyond Coal campaign. In Indiana, we're very, very lucky because we can look to the horizon and we don't see smog. We have one of the prettiest places in the world to live in. That's southern Indiana. We deserve clean air to breathe. We deserve safe water to drink. All human beings need that, and as representatives of the public, that's your number one responsibility, is to make sure that we can live safe, healthy lives. Coal is called fossil fuel for a reason. It's made from fossils, and it is a fossil, and it deserves to disappear from our energy system. When we have available to us renewable resources that will be much cheaper and safer. I don't see the point of continuing to put good funds into aging coal plants that are inefficient, polluting, and harm the people who live in Indiana. Thank you.
Your Honor, that completes all the questionnaires from folks who have indicated they would like to speak this evening. I would request a short recess so that if there's anyone who has not filled out a form and you would like to talk tonight, please go to the OUCC's table outside so that we can receive that form and you have the opportunity to make your comments as well.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Marks. Great. Let's take a 10-minute break and we'll go off the record this time.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have one additional consumer, Matt Larma, who would like to address you and needs to be sworn in, please.
You say you already are sworn?
I was here earlier when the swearing in was done.
If you would raise your right hand, you swear or affirm the evidence you'll give in this cause for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Matt Larmer, L-A-R-I-M-E-R. I'm a resident of Haute County. I'm a teacher. I'm a veteran. And it does frustrate me to see Duke Energy adopting what I've come to view as the national corporate playbook, which is to dramatically increase the compensation of executives while regular workers' compensation remains stagnant, and continue to give charitable giving that pales in comparison to profits, and pretending like that charitable giving is somehow benefiting the communities more than it's harming them. The Associated Press just put out a study showing that national executive salaries increased at 3 times the rate of workers around the country. But as many people have mentioned already tonight, we're all already familiar with the statistics. So I just want to talk about a little bit about the kids that I see come to school every day, whose parents can't afford, especially in Vigo County, whose parents can't afford healthy food for their kids, who can't afford appropriate clothing, who can't afford the basic necessities of life. Through no fault of their own, these kids have done nothing to deserve the circumstances that they're in. And the beautiful part about the decision that you're going to be able to make is this. If I had to guess, I would say that the vast majority of people in Indiana think that you're going to pass this rate increase. And there's something beautiful and inspiring about a small group of people listening to the voices of their community and saying no to corporate interests. And I would just ask that you do that. I would from the bottom of my heart, ask you to just say no. Thank you.
Your Honor, the public has no additional folks who have expressed a desire to speak this evening. I want to remind everyone that written comments can also be submitted should you want to do so. At this time, the public would move for the admission of Public's Exhibit FHA1.
Ms. Washburn, Ms. Steffes, any objection to that?
No, Your Honor.
The Citizens Action Coalition has no objection. Ms. Steffes?
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection from petitioner. Public exhibits. FHA1 is admitted into the record without objection. Thank you for your participation this evening. Cause number 46038 is continued to the field hearing to be held at the Olcott Young Room of the Monroe Convention Center, located at 302 South College Avenue, Bloomington, Indiana, commencing at 6:00 p.m. on June 20th, 2024. This hearing is, of course, open to the public, and with that, we'll allow